name is Dr. Greg Yasuda. I'm not graduating. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 44th Annual Spring Commencement for Bastyr University. To begin things, please welcome Dr. Danielle Boone.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor and privilege for me today to read the land acknowledgement. As an institution of higher learning committed to educating future leaders in the natural health, arts, and sciences that integrate mind, body, spirit, and nature, Bastyr University humbly believes that it is our responsibility to remind current and future generations of the respect we owe to the indigenous peoples who have been dispossessed of their land and displaced from their ancestral and spiritual homes through colonization. We acknowledge that the lands on which Bastyr University campuses stand, on which we study, work, and live today, are the original and contemporary homes of many indigenous peoples whose spiritual connections to these lands form the foundations of their ways of being. Specifically, the university is situated on the traditional ancestral lands of the Coast Salish people in Kenmore and Seattle, Washington, and the traditional ancestral lands of the Kumeyaay people in San Diego, California. We recognize and esteem the values, vast knowledge, and collective wisdom of these nations from the past and present. We honor their resiliency, as we recognize the history of oppression, racism, and extreme hardship that has and continues to affect the indigenous peoples of these lands. We understand that land acknowledgement is only a first step in honoring the contributions of indigenous peoples today and strive towards policies and practices that bring about justice and reconciliation. We, the Bastyr University community, strive to be stewards of the land on which this institution stands and to embrace indigenous ways of knowing through our Sacred Seeds program in Washington, herbal gardens, and other initiatives that promote equal opportunity and access in education and healthcare. We are grateful to be on these lands and for the people who steward it. We commit to manifesting our intentions as one Bastyr community. Thank you.
Please welcome the chair of the Bastyr Board of Trustees, Dr. Jane Hilton.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Bastyr University Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to welcome the graduates to your commencement. This is the highlight of the academic year, and the board congratulates each and every one of you for your long, hard, important journey that brings you here today. And whether this is your first degree or your terminal degree, which I think is a terrible word to use, few of us never get here solely on our own. At this time, I invite all parents, spouses, partners, children, and friends of graduates to rise and receive the appreciation of the university for your special graduate for your love and support. Congratulations to all of you for a job well done. would like to extend our deep appreciation to Dr. Joe Pizzorno for his work over the last year as interim president. Dr. Joe, our founding president, came out of retirement last year to lead a remarkable turnaround for the university. Thankfully, Dr. Joe will be staying on as chancellor to continue his efforts at revitalizing Bastyr. He will continue to team with Dr. Randy Frisch, who will become our next president on July 1st. And finally, there's usually another person on this stage, and we've lost him this year, so I wanted to acknowledge the loss of a giant in the naturopathic community, Dr. Les Griffith. Not only was Dr. Griffith co-founder of Bastyr University, he was an educator who taught many of our students and a fierce and effective political advocate for our profession during a time when the very existence of the licensed naturopathic profession was at risk in the state of Washington. It is in no small part due to Dr. Griffith's efforts that we are still here today. Thank you, Les. You will be missed. You deserve it.
At each commencement ceremony, we invite a graduating student to read the Founder's Prayer, which was written by Dr. Bill Mitchell. Who better to understand the ongoing gift of the founders than the students who are the beneficiaries of their vision? This year, the student chosen to represent all graduating students is Mackenzie Acuff.
Good afternoon. Thank you, loving Creator, for this joyous day, and for the comfort, strength, and support we get from each other. Thank you for Bastyr. Bless it, inspire it, and engulf it in the urgent flame of the search for truth and integrity, in the epistemology of natural medicine. Thank you for the gift of life, and thank you for the nourishment that energized this gift. Thank you for your great spirit that has motivated the people to be here today. Thank you for the opportunity that Bastyr University provides as a forum for us to serve your people, and especially those whose lives have fallen on hard times of suffering and disease. Remind us to be humble, for humility is the womb of compassion. Open our eyes and our hearts to see and appreciate the vast potential of those around us. Grant us grace to nurture and encourage each other. And more than anything else in this troubled world, remind us that love is the strongest healer and the reason for life itself. Thank you.
In 1978, the founding president of John Bastyr College was Dr. Joe Pizzorno. We have been honored that for this past year, the president of Bastyr University has been Dr. Joe Pizzorno. Please join me in welcoming and thanks to Dr. Joe Pizzorno.
Well, thank you, family and friends, for joining us today. It's been 26 years since I've had the opportunity to address this audience, and You may be wondering why your loved one, whom we're celebrating today, chose a career in natural medicine rather than conventional medicine, and why did they come to Bastyr? So we look at the history of medicine. There's basically two schools of thought. Lots of different names, two schools of thought. One school of thought believes that the body makes mistakes, the victim of disease, and the role of doctors is to take control. Okay? We might call that disease medicine. There's another perspective. That perspective is that the body has a tremendous ability to heal, and the role of doctors is to understand what is blocking that healing and what can be done to support the body's own natural healing processes. Each form of medicine has its strengths and its weaknesses. Now, we as a society gave all the resources, all the money, all the social prestige to just one side of the equation, to drug medicine, to disease medicine. Now, a lot of good things came from that. Life-saving surgeries, antibiotics that can kill overwhelming infections. There are many examples of the benefits of focusing on the disease side of medicine. But the problem is that the disease side of medicine's political entities did everything they could to suppress the health side of medicine. So what happened? We now suffer the highest burden of chronic disease in every age group ever in human history. Not that conventional medicine is wrong. What is wrong is having only conventional medicine have control of healthcare. So we start looking at this situation. One of the reasons why it got so far out of hand is because drugs work too well. You might say, wait a minute, the naturopathic doctor saying drugs work too well? Yes, they work too well at turning off the symptoms of the body breaking, so the reason why people are sick continue unabated. If you look at the reading of our pioneers a century ago, naturopathic doctors a century ago were writing about their philosophy of medicine, they said that if you treat acute disease with suppressive medicines, in other words, drugs that turn off the symptoms of the disease, you'll get more chronic disease because you haven't dealt with the causes. Well, guess what? They were clearly right. You may also wonder then, then you can see your daughter's son, or family member, loved one, decided to go into natural medicine. Why did they pick Bastyr? They picked Bastyr because we have been the most powerful force advancing health medicine ever seen in the world. And this has had big impacts. We'll talk about what those are. So first off, Bastyr became the first university of natural medicine ever to be accredited anywhere in the world. That provided credibility for education in natural medicine. We created the textbook of natural medicine, co-authored by myself and the current trustee of Bastyr, Dr. Michael Murray. The textbook of natural medicine, now in its fifth edition, 2,000 pages, 20,000 citations to scientific literature documenting the efficacy of natural medicine. So textbook of natural medicine demonstrated scientific validity of what we're doing. Not only did it provide the foundation for naturopathic medicine going forward, it also provided the foundation that allowed things like integrative medicine and functional medicine to become established and to flourish. Now, this is not the first time that MDs want to practice natural medicine. You may have heard of orthomolecular medicine, holistic medicine, ecological medicine. There are many, many names. They all failed until Bastyr University came along and started showing the scientific validity of what we're doing. Not only that, but it provided the foundation for licensing in the States. When I graduated way back in 1975, only 6 states licensed naturopathic doctors, and we were felony in 2 states. That's right. If in Tennessee I call myself a naturopathic doctor, I got thrown in prison for daring to tell my patients to stop taking all those drugs and instead learn how to live healthily and use vitamins and herbs and such to regain their health. So we now have 26 states licensed naturopathic doctors because we've shown the credibility. We've been very involved in public affairs. Bastyr University led the development of the National Center for Complementary Alternative Medicine Policy, which then Congress funded with $200 million a year to fund research in natural medicine. And much of that was done at Bastyr. We have fellowships and such to demonstrate. And then another thing that happened was the NIH decided to establish 2 centers of alternative medicine research in the United States. 75 colleges and universities applied for it. Big names, you recognize those names. only 2 were awarded. Bastyr got one of those. And by getting that recognition of our ability to perform research, we showed that, yes, there is research supporting natural medicine, and we can do it. And another example of what we do to increase public awareness and use of natural medicine is we created the King County Natural Medicine Clinic. It was the first clinic in the world that had local, city, county, state, and federal funding to provide natural medicine to people of low income and limited access to healthcare services. So by doing that, we showed a huge public interest. So this is why your daughter, your son, your friend came to Bastyr University, because we did it the best in the world. And we did the best in the world by following a term that I coined way back in the late 1970s, science-based natural medicine. Natural medicine has so much to offer the world, but it could not come up to public acceptance and utilization until we established credible education, modern research, modern textbooks. When I was in school, the most modern textbook in nature medicine had been published in the year I was born. The profession fell very deeply. But because of Bastyr, and because of the students here and the graduates, we fundamentally changed how people think about healthcare, and now we have the opportunity to reestablish health medicine to balance disease medicine so we promote the health of all. Thank you very much. So one of the fun things about being the president of the university is I get to decide who we should award honorary degrees. This is our way of recognizing people who made huge differences and that had huge impact on advancing natural medicine and advancing Bastyr University. Today, I have the great privilege of providing an award of recognition to Dr. Bill Kepler. Now, I'm not going to read what's in your program, you can read that. What I'm going to tell you is what my experience was. So think back, way back in the early 1980s, when natural medicine was still not well accepted. Remember, this is almost half a century ago. Natural medicine is not well accepted. And there were many, many organizations here to stop us. The Bastyr University said, this is good medicine, we are doing education right, we want to apply for accreditation. Again, no school of natural medicine has ever been accredited. So we applied for accreditation, and we went through a very rocky road. But that rocky road became a golden road when Dr. Bill Kepler stood up and said to the accredited people, this is a good institution, I believe what they're doing, they have good people, they should be accredited, and because of him, Bastyr University became accredited. Dr. Kepler, we owe you unending debt of gratitude.
Dr. Jane Gillikin, a chair, MD, of the Bastyr Board of Trustees, members of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Joseph Pizzorno, the President and incoming Chancellor of the Bastyr University, and Dr. Randy Fritsch, PhD, a Chief Operating Officer, and soon to become the President of Bastyr University. Bastyr administrators, staff, and faculty, Bastyr program candidates for graduation and their families and friends, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. First, we respectfully wish to acknowledge and thank Dr. Joseph Pizzorno, the founding president, for allowing me to be the speaker. We have known President Pizzorno for more than 48 years, and he has been my presidential colleague, mentor, and lifelong friend. He is one of the globe's best known and most respected science-based naturopathic doctors. His 6 books, beginning with the classic, The Encyclopedia of Natural Medicine, has been the standard of excellence for science-based natural medicine, with over 100,000 copies sold, translated into 4 languages, and now in the 5th edition. This is a very special day, not just for me, but more importantly for these Bastyr graduates and their programs, and especially their families and friends. They are anxious to get on with this commencement after years of applied, basic, and clinical practice of natural medicine. My comments will not be too long, and remember what my wife Ann told me: Bill, be brief, be good, and be gone. It was last fall when we read in the Sunday edition of the New York Times newspaper an article about the listening study. It was at Columbia University where a listening study of 1,000 people who listened carefully to a 15-minute speech. We mention it here because we believe it has relevance of what we are about to say in our comments this afternoon. 5% of those present could recall all or most of that speech. That's 5%. 12% could recall half of that speech. 12%. 28% could tell you what the speech was about, and even cite 2 or 3 important points in that address. The remainder of 55% of the people in that listening study heard very little, tuned out the speaker completely, and indulged themselves about a vacation or in romantic fantasies. Therefore, if these statistics hold true, we have the utmost confidence that you will enjoy yourselves regardless of what I have to say. The first quarter of the 21st century is best described as the digital revolution. This is the age of molecular biology, genomics, novo computer chips, and artificial intelligence. We experience large amounts of data on our iPhones every single day. And futurists like Dr. John Nesbitt of Megatrend fame recently said in a podcast I heard, "We are drowning in information, but starved for knowledge." Let me repeat that again. We are drowning in information, but starved for knowledge. This is the time of parenthesis, the time between eras, the end of the Industrial Revolution and the beginning of the digital and artificial intelligent era. The best explanation that I can give of artificial intelligence is synthetic reality. Synthetic reality in art, music, literature, in everything. This results in major changes in the way we do things. And change is always challenging because it takes us away from our comfort level. We have a tendency to believe life will become more difficult, less enjoyable, both professionally and personally. With all that said, what must we do to develop the requisite and necessary leadership skills for the present and future? This is based upon my nearly 90 years of living and experience in higher education and in the highest ranks of the United States military. We would argue there are 7 common qualities of leadership essential for success in any career. See if you concur with my analysis. Number 1, courage. Courage is the most essential value. It's the one that makes all others possible, according to the late Prime Minister Winston Churchill. Ernest Hemingway said, "Courage is grace under pressure." Cervantes, the great Spanish novelist, wrote, "Valor lies halfway between rashness and cowardice." Courage is the linchpin of true leadership and the key to solving big problems. The great English author C.S. Lewis took the character of courage one step further by saying courage is all the other values at the point of where they are tested. It also provides the strength to evaluate an emotional response and to act both rightly and rationally. Further, it gives us the ability to set aside the fear of failure and take the first positive step in a critical situation. President Woodrow Wilson, a Nobel Peace Prize recipient, once said, "I would rather fail in a cause that succeeds than succeed in a cause that fails." That takes courage. Number 2 is discipline, especially self-discipline. The word generally has a negative reaction to most individuals, but it's the most effective and efficient way of completing any assignment or task, as you have found out. Why so? Because it is a time saver. Discipline is the practice of training someone to follow the rules of conduct or some practices or procedures. At times it may even become a lifesaver. Discipline is holding back an emotional response when you are right and someone else is wrong, and by not saying, "I told you so." Number 3, enthusiasm. The classical Greeks gave us one of the most beautiful words in the English language, enthusiasm. The root is entheos, a God within, in enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is about any assignment in the laboratory or clinic or library. It makes a difference between a job well done as it could or should be. Passion or zeal are equally good synonyms for enthusiasm. Number 4, humility. The quality comes from the root of humus, from the earth, the soil, from the ground. It means doing nothing out of selfish ambition. It means reviewing your actions against the language of pride. Humility is the antithesis of pride. It is the quality of being humble in all circumstances of life. It also means seeking feedback from colleagues and friends. It also implies accepting criticism and admitting when you are wrong, even when it is most challenging and most difficult. Integrity. Integrity is a very critical factor. It must be earned every day and can be lost in a day. Bottom line, it's being honest, straightforward, behaving ethically, and always doing the right thing, even when you're alone or behind closed doors. It has been said by people, if you have integrity, nothing else matters. If you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. Number 6, perseverance. This is a value for continuous effort to achieve some assignment, task, or goal, despite challenges, difficulties, opposition, and even failure. It's being patient and often seeking other possible solutions to a problem. Perseverance is setting a reasonable pace and allowing ample time to achieve the assignment. It literally means sweating out a challenging task over known and unknown obstacles. It is not giving in to panic or a sudden situation, but to remain calm, cool, and collected with your mind and actions. Perseverance also indicates reasonable preparation and time management for the task ahead. Wisdom, number 7. Wisdom comes from understanding and knowledge. For example, everyone knows that a tomato is a fruit. That's knowledge. But not putting a tomato in a fruit salad is wisdom. Another example one day, a Swiss engineer, George de Mistry, examined birds on his dog after a walk in a grassy forest. He wondered whether something similar could lead to a fastener. So he used nylon hooks and loops, miniature size, after nature, and guess what? It became a global success known as Velcro. We obtain wisdom not so much by the recollection of the past, but by the responsibility of the future. Wisdom, I believe, is a combination of three qualities: knowledge, experience, and judgment. It's always being fair-minded and making good, reasonable decisions. So there you are, the 7 common qualities of leadership: courage, discipline, enthusiasm, humility, integrity, perseverance, and wisdom. Please keep these common qualities as you initiate your practice of natural medicine and your other programs here at Bastyr. Society needs your common qualities of leadership and special healing skills. In closing, it is worth noting what 3 individuals said to do in your life in the technology of today. Each one of these people was separated by thousands of years. It was the Greek philosopher Socrates who said, "Know thyself." 1,000 years later, it was the great Roman orator Cicero who said, "Control thyself." 100 years, 1,000 years later, it was a Jew named Jesus who said, "Give thyself." Know thyself, control thyself, give thyself good advice. Thank you for listening. Congratulations to all the Bastyr graduates, and happy birthday, USA, for Nifty 250.
Thank you for your comments, Dr. Kepler. I think many of us are feeling a little less starved for knowledge. Each year, graduating students select a peer to speak for them. Today, representing graduating baccalaureate students is Kayla Korsakovas.
Good afternoon, Bastyr friends, family, faculty, and most importantly, my fellow graduates. It is such an honor to stand here today representing the undergraduate class, and especially the Herbal Sciences program. When I was thinking about what to say today, I kept coming back to one of my favorite poems by Tupac Shakur, "The Rose That Grew from Concrete." Of course, I have to have a plant pun in here. The poem goes, "Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's laws wrong, it learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from the concrete when no one else ever cared." And throughout my time here, I kept thinking, that feels an awful lot like us. Because every single person sitting here today has grown through several types of concrete throughout these past 2 years. We have navigated uncertainty. We have faced program shutdowns. We have questioned whether we would even be able to fund our own education. But somehow, through it all, we grew. And like that rose pushing through the concrete, we didn't just survive, we prospered. And to have made it this far is no accident. There is something about this magical place that attracts a very special kind of person. The people who stop mid-hike to identify a medicinal plant. The people who get excited asking if you think a raspberry is actually a berry. Spoiler, it's not. It's actually an aggregate of droplets, technically not a berry. And the people who would have gone to Hogwarts if it were a real place. Because the knowledge we've been given here is no ordinary. It's sacred. It's the understanding that a plant is not just a garden weed. It's a complex story of phytochemistry, medicine, history, and tradition all at the same time. It's the understanding that food, environment, and community are coexisting within health, not separate from it. And it's the comprehension that healing is rarely black and white. And learning that kind of knowledge alters your brain chemistry. You start to see the world differently. A forest becomes your pharmacy, a kitchen becomes your doctor's office, and a conversation becomes an opportunity to help someone feel seen, heard, and supported. But with that knowledge also comes responsibility, because we are entering a world where information is everywhere, but wisdom is not. We live in a time where misinformation spreads faster than it ever has, where algorithms and trends can shape healthcare decisions, where artificial intelligence can generate answers instantly, but cannot replace the discernment, ethics, and lived understanding that we carry with us from this education. And that's where it all begins. Our Bastyr education was never about just memorizing anatomy or naming chemical molecules. It was about learning how to think critically, how to question, how to evaluate evidence, how to balance both tradition and modern science with responsibility. In other words, it taught us how to be stewards of knowledge, and that matters. Because whether we become physicians, herbalists, nutritionists, or anything in between, we are now part of something bigger. We are educators, not necessarily in classrooms, but in conversations, in our communities, in the ways we show up for the people seeking answers about what they're going through. And in uncertain times like these, teachers matter. People who can bring clarity instead of confusion, evidence instead of noise, and compassion instead of judgment. And that is the work that is waiting for us. And when I look around at this class, I feel incredibly hopeful, because I know the kind of people Bastyr attracts. So to my fellow graduates, like the rose, we grew where many people thought growth was near impossible. We adapted, we persevered, and now we are ready to go off into the world in bloom. May we carry the curiosity that brought us here. May we protect the integrity of the knowledge we've been given. And may we go off into the world not just as graduates, but as stewards of something truly remarkable. Because the education we received here is not just a degree, it is a promise. A promise to heal, to question, to teach, and to serve. Congratulations, class of 2026. We made it through the concrete. And I will be forever grateful for the lifelong friends, fellow barefoot sisters, and family the school has brought me. And thank you, Bastyr, for giving me the potential to be the most lethal Jeopardy contestant if the opportunity ever presents itself. Thank you.
Bachelor of Science degree with a major in herbal science. Bibiana Ramona Ancheta. Ajade Edmonds. Kayla Leah Kosakova. Tanya Maruto. Michaela Lee Ha-Hill Reed. Adriana Tamburini.
Hi, my name is Nancy Perlow. I am the chair of the Department of Nutrition and Exercise Science. I'm proud to read the names of the graduates receiving their Bachelor of Science degree in the major of Nutrition, Food, and Exercise. Jacob Edward Bowman. Sue Bunn. Larissa D. Malteris. Christopher John Kujawa. Malia Matthew. Brianna M. Short.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of the university in the state of Washington, I hereby confer upon you bachelors, you the bachelor's degree to which you are entitled with all rights and privileges thereunto pertain. Yes, I am proud to present the 2026 baccalaureate class of Bastyr University.
The second graduating speaker, representing the master's degree graduates, is Tevi Lucas.
First of all, I didn't get the memo like all the other students that not wearing shoes was an option. I love it. But I also want to let you know if you continue to do that on the hardwood floor, you'll be seeing us acupuncturists for plantar fasciitis. Anyway, good afternoon, faculty, family, friends, and fellow graduates. In undergrad, I was studying to be a nurse, and I was in a clinical rotation for community health and hospice. And I was supposed to go see this man that was dying of cancer. And I went there, went into his room, saw how frail he was, and saw how forlorn he was. And I watched the family and the friends, the doctors, the nurses all stand around this patient. And I thought to myself, I can never do this as a nurse. I'm going to school to save lives, to heal people. But at that point, I didn't really understand the value that I was going to becoming a nurse. I later realized that I wasn't watching a man die. I was watching the many faces of love. Each person had their own act of love to give to them. And that would be what you graduates will be doing with your patients. Being a face of love. Later on, I realized how important it is that in the beginning of our journey, we think we're going in one direction, and we end up later in life not going that way or coming full circle. Because life is a journey. In fact, later in life, I did end up working with hospice. But that's the thing about journeys, they change. And today marks the end of one journey and the beginning of another. As graduates, we leave this chapter carrying not only knowledge, but also responsibility, compassion, and the privilege of serving others during some of the most important moments of their lives. Throughout our education, we have learned that healing is more than the absence of disease. It is balance, the restoration of harmony within the body, mind, and spirit. Though we have studied different philosophies, all of us, different traditions, different techniques, they all point towards one common truth about people, and it is that people have an incredible capacity to heal when given support, guidance, and care. As we enter practice, balance must remain the center of our work. Don't forget about yourself. It is important to take care of yourself, respect yourself, so that you have the power to help heal others. The path we have chosen is one of service, but we cannot guide others towards wellness unless we do self-care. Self-care is necessary. It allows us to serve sustainably and wholeheartedly. Today we have celebrated the seeds planted within us through every lecture, clinical, experience, challenge, and setback. Some seeds will bloom quickly, while others may take years to reveal the purpose. During moments of doubt, remember healing often unfolds quietly and gradually, just like the growth of the seeds beneath the soil. In a world that often feels chaotic, disconnected, our work matters. we can foster connections to inspire hope and to remind people of their strengths, resilience, and the capacity for transformation. There's a quote, which you probably all know, by Gandhi. It's, "Be the change you wish to see in the world. Be the change you wish to see in the world." As individuals who educate and heal, we can embody that principle every day. We can be examples of compassion, curiosity, integrity, and hope. And we can help create communities where healing is accessible, where people feel seen and valued, and where wellness is understood as a lifelong journey rather than a destination. To my fellow graduates, the world needs what you have to offer. Your knowledge, your courage, your wisdom, and your heart. May we continue to learn to grow and serve with humility and compassion. Remember that every act of healing, no matter how small, has the power to create meaningful change. Maya Angelou, a great poet, once said, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Good luck on your journey ahead, and may you always strive for balance. Now go make that change.
Dr. Dan Rosen will hood the graduates receiving a Master of Arts degree in Counseling Psychology. President Pizzarno will hand the graduates their certificates. Nicolette Allen. Master of Acupuncture, Master of Acupuncture with Chinese Herbal Medicine. Lena E. Tamero.
Chair of the Midwifery Department will hood the graduates receiving a Master of Science degree in midwifery. Suad Benamara.
graduates receiving a Master of Science degree in nutrition with the didactic program in dietetics.
Graduate students, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of the university in the state of Washington, I hereby confer upon you the master's degree to which you are entitled, with all the rights and privileges thereunto pertaining. Yes, I am proud to present the 2026 graduate class of Bastyr University.
Our final speaker this afternoon, representing the doctoral graduates, is
Congratulations, class of 2026. Can we give another round of applause? If you haven't already told yourself today that you're proud of yourself, I hope that you have this moment to feel it, because I'm so proud of you for making it to this moment. It feels surreal to be here right now. My name is Mariah Ashley Emerson, and I am both honored and grateful to stand in front of each of you today to speak to this moment. We did it. I'd like to first give thanks to the collection of ancestors represented and present in this room. When we think about naturopathic medicine, acupuncture, botanical medicine, dietetics, counseling, and all of the other doctrines and practices sitting in this room today, we can trace each of them back to an indigenous wisdom and lineage. Because of the people who came before us, we have professions and systems that each of us are going to take some major next steps in, and I hope we don't hold that lightly. You see, one of my favorite sayings is none of us get here alone, because beyond the literal truth of that statement, it carries an energetic and epigenetic significance. I think about how many people had to say yes to their life, their choices, and their circumstances for me to stand here on this stage today. I think about the yes my grandmother, Sylvia Gordon Taylor, gave when she moved from Mississippi to Chicago with 5 children and a bus ticket. I think about my other grandmother, Esther Mae Emerson's yes, when she chose to commit to education, organizing, friendship, and justice as key values for her life and her mothering. I wonder if they knew then that their yeses gave way to my own. To move from Chicago to Seattle 5 years ago, completely uproot my life, and take a major leap in making a lifelong dream come true. I think about the many yeses received from my parents, my wife, my family, chosen family, and friends, who all agreed to support me in this journey, to hold me, and to remind me of who I am and whose I am, even in moments where it may have seemed I forgot. Thank y'all. You to think about every yes that came before you, which allowed for you to be here today. And remember that after we step outside of these doors, we have a bunch more yeses to make. There is a sacred medicine living in each of you. And spoiler alert, it isn't what you learned in your years of rigorous training and preparation. That knowledge equipped us with tools and how you'll bring support and care to the communities you serve. But the real medicine is you. You're the sauce, you're the conduit. I mean that. Here's how I know it. If you think about something that really excites you about the work you're about to do, maybe it's a certain body system, collection of illnesses or diseases that you're passionate about, or something that you really want to dive deeper in teaching or researching, there's a chance that at least one other person in this room is also interested in that same thing. But they're not you. You're going to present this medicine in a way that's specific to your lens, your passion, your worldview. And that's the point. In 2026, we've become too attached on trying to be for everyone. We're in an era of reckoning how to be with one another. I mean, really coexist, survive, and thrive in a world that's gathered humans from all walks of life and experiences in a way that human civilization hasn't experienced before. You likely came into your program thinking of a community you're excited to serve, or being a part of a people who really deserves better care. I know I did. And my community is a key reason why I even was able to finish what I started. They reminded me of my purpose and my principles as I try new things and stretch myself from every direction. Part of Bastyr's vision is to transform the health and well-being of the human community. That vision feels huge, perhaps even a little overwhelming for some of us. But if you bring your medicine and I bring mine to the pockets and circles that inspire us, need us, and keep us going, we grow as a people. That vision of transformation, and I'll even add to it, liberation for all, becomes more tangible, more accessible when we do this. So this moment isn't about being the right fit for everybody, nor is it about pedestalizing ourselves as anyone's savior or saint. It's about standing in our unique expressions and continuing to say yes to all of the spaces that enliven us. I encourage you to say yes to doing the work, both internal and external, as we move forward. Today, we celebrate something huge, but we're not done. A good friend of mine, Dr. Paris Grady, stood on this stage just 1 year ago and told us, she said, it takes real bravery to step outside the box, real courage to see the truth. Truth is, we're just getting started, and y'all, we got work to do. Ancestor Tony K. Bombara said, the role of the artist is to make the revolution irresistible. But what of the role of the healer, the practitioner, the organizer? What can we do to make this work irresistible, delicious, and close to home? Before I close up, I'd like to give thanks and attention to one last thing. If you're willing to walk along with me for a moment, I'd like for everyone to just close their eyes. Take a breath. Throughout the time it has taken you to complete this program, there have been babies born, loved ones transitioned, grief, excitement, fear, creation, exploration, uncertainty, and so much more. Yes, we've done a big thing, but life is a big thing. A realization I had through this journey is med school don't stop for life, and life does not stop for med school. Life threw you whatever curveballs you've endured during this time, and you kept going. So in this moment, before we all keep going, let's stop and pause for all we've gained and all we've lost while doing this big, beautiful thing. Class of 2026, I am proud of us. To our family, our friends, our loved ones online, in person, and in spirit, celebrating us today and always, endless thank yous. To the faculty and staff who have supported us, shaped us, and equipped us with rich information and experience, thank you. May the yeses ahead be paved with alignment, right relation, and an irresistible sense of peace and joy. Thank you.
Doctors of Acupuncture. And I'll start with Ariel Hanna Castanecto and Joel Larray Biglieri.
Doctor of Acupuncture students, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of the university in the state of Washington, I hereby confer upon you the doctoral degree to which you are entitled with all rights and privileges thereunto pertaining. Yes, I'm proud to present the 2026 Doctor of Acupuncture class of Bastyr University. Before proceeding, I need to correct an error on my part. It's been 26 years since I did this last time, so please provide me grace. We actually have a plaque for Dr. Kepler, and I'm supposed to present it to him before he gave his presentation. So now I want to make up lost ground. Dr. Kepler, my friend.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Jana Nelbandian. I'm the School of Naturopathic Medicine, and I'm beyond proud to read the names of the graduates receiving the degree of Doctor of Naturopathic Medicine, and Dr. Christina Connor will hood the graduates. Dr. Molly McKenzie. Dr. Nico Aguilar. Dr. Gabrielle Arcangel Aviles Olavencia. Blankenship. Dr. Carolyn Boudin. Dr. Selena Saraya Chand. Dr. Elise Deanne Arpo. Dr. Ramon Garcia. Dr. Emma Cole. Dr. Andrea Haynes. Shannon, I think this is Chow, Chang Lee. Dr. Kevin Michael Long. Dr. Matthew Maniello. Dr. Tanya Murray. Dr. Ashley Astrid Park. Dr. Abigail Ann Green. Dr. Jenna Stefanoff. Dr. Samantha Warner. Okay, the following graduates have completed their degree in naturopathic medicine and have also completed a certificate in functional medicine. These certificates required an additional 13 classes beyond their regular ND schedule. Dr. Anna Claire Neri. Dr. Brianna Milgram. Dr. Julia Ann Danamon. Dr. Kimberly Megan Dickinson. Dr. Jennifer Gibbs. Dr. Amy Kim. Dr. Sydney Havian. We are so proud of them for their dedication to their education and their future practice. Dr. Skylar Boo. Dr. David Mongo Lee. Dr. Nadia Yerfeyeva. The last two are Doctors of Naturopathic Medicine and Masters of Arts in Counseling and Psychology.
all the naturopathic doctors in the audience and the stage, would you join us? I dedicate myself to the service of humanity. So, graduates, please recite after us. I dedicate myself to the service of humanity. As a practitioner of the art and science of naturopathic medicine. By precept, education, and example, I will assist and encourage others to strengthen their health, reduce risks of disease, and preserve the health of the planet for ourselves and future generations. I will continually endeavor to improve my abilities. I will conduct my life and practice of naturopathic medicine with integrity and freedom from prejudice. I will keep confidential what should not be divulged. I will honor the principles of naturopathic medicine. First, do no harm. To cooperate with the healing power of nature. To address the fundamental causes of disease. To heal the whole person through individualized treatment. To teach the principles of healthy living and preventive medicine. With my whole heart. Before these witnesses. As a doctor of naturopathic medicine. I pledge to remain true to this oath. Welcome, doctors. By the virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of the University and the state of Washington, I hereby confer upon you the doctoral degree to which you are entitled, with all the rights and privileges thereunto pertaining. Yes, I'm proud to present the 2026 Doctor of Naturopathic Medicine class of Bastyr University.
is always a time of reflection and a day to look forward to all that the future promises. It is my pleasure to now introduce to you Dr. Randy Frisch, who on July 1st will become the 7th president of Bastyr University.
Well, first, let me offer my congratulations, our congratulations, one more time to the class of 2000. Your hard work and accomplishments are impressive. They impress the faculty, the staff, and your family and friends. You've earned the accolades. I want to take a moment to thank Dr. Joseph E. Pizzorno one more time. Without Dr. Pizzorno, literally, we would not be here today. Dr. Pizzorno was one of the founders of the institution, our first president. He's been an inspiration for the professions of our school. He's been a faculty member all 48 years of its existence. And last year he came back to help us raise funds that made sure not only that we are here today, but we will be here tomorrow. It has been a personal highlight of my professional career to get to work with Dr. Pizzorno and see the care he has not only for the education, but for the treatment that your patients will have moving forward. Dr. Pizzorno, Bastyr will never forget you. This has been an incredible year. Please take our sincerest form of compliment and thanks for your hard work. Fantastic afternoon. I am so impressed with the stamina and the enthusiasm of this group. I want to offer one brief consideration to the graduates as you walk out into a very complex world. Do not let perfect be the enemy of good. The quote is attributed to various people, but Voltaire is probably who started it. We've morphed it to meet our complex lives. We live in a time when perfect is often used as a standard against which people are judged. Those who point out our imperfections are not particularly special. Anyone can point out a flaw or a contrarian opinion. The irony of those who point out flaws, of course, is no one's perfect. No system is perfect, no opportunity is perfect, but it can be discouraging when someone compares you to perfect. Don't let that happen. More irony when a person, a new MD, a new counselor, a new nutritionist, focuses on perfection, they can overlook good opportunities. Our most successful graduates at Bastyr see good opportunities, not perfect opportunities. They take those good opportunities and they make them perfect for them. Finally, please share with others your good experiences at Bastyr. We know your experience was not perfect, but your now alma mater is in a better financial and educational position than it was 12 months ago. And it will be even stronger in another 12 months. You can help that. You can help us get better by sharing your feedback, sharing the good, even if imperfect experiences you had in your time with us. Together, graduates, family, friends, we can continue to make Bastyr better and stronger. Congratulations again, class of 2026. Don't forget us, let us know how you're doing. We love to see your social media posts, and you will be successful. Don't let perfect be the enemy.